Joel Klatt, lead college football voice for this network's calling USC, Texas. You know why I feel good?
Why do you feel good?
I feel great today.
Good new set, by the way. Look
Isn't
at this.
it nice?
Yeah,
It's
nice
classy.
and cozy.
Classy
it's
and
a
cozy.
classic.
So here's my thing. Baker Mayfield leaves Oklahoma.
Oh,
1,100 yards in 2 games. Darnold leaves USC. They can't get a first down.
Are we going to do this?
No,
again?
I mean, you time out.
You knew you were walking into this, Joel.
Sam Darnold leaves USC. They couldn't get in the red zone. They couldn't get
actually,
in the red
they
zone.
did. They're actually 120th in the country in red zone touchdown efficiency. I mean, it's true. It's true. They scored 5. They settled for 5 field goals. They were inside the 40-yard line 6 times. I think it has more to do with inexperience than lack of ability.
They bring their offensive line back. They got good receivers.
Yeah, but you got to understand that scoring in the red zone and red zone offensive efficiency has more to do with timing and anticipation than it does just like sheer offensive line play. I think they'll get better at that as the season goes on. I wouldn't be – listen,
Texas is going to beat them this weekend.
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, Texas has really struggled. They only beat Tulsa by 7 points. They lost in their opener at Maryland. This is a team that's still trying to find their way in Tom Herman's second year. I think both of these coaches are under a lot of pressure.
Why can't you just, right now, just say, Colin, I apologize. Darnold's better than Baker Mayfield.
Well, because we don't know that. And
Sure.
so you try to pit
your
me
TV
against
doesn't
these two.
work on
I
Mondays?
love both of these players. I really love both of these players. And just pump the brakes a little bit on Sam. I mean, we've seen this before, right? Of course we have. Geno Smith had this same reaction when he won the opener with the Jets. Mark Sanchez had the same reaction when he won his opener with the Jets. A Star is Born on the, New York Daily News? They had those covers out. So you cherry-picked on Baker Mayfield. I'm going to cherry-pick now on Sam Darnold. These covers were actual covers after Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez won their opener with the Jets.
So your television,
I'm just saying,
your television
relax.
didn't work on Monday?
Just
That's not
relax.
what I watched.
It was great.
Okay.
You will not get me. See, you're going to try to bait me into saying that I like Baker more than Sam, so on and so forth. That's not what I'm going to do. Both of these players are great. Sam is a terrific player. Player. And I think that he is going to be a 10, 15-year franchise quarterback for the Jets.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get me to say anything bad. I think Baker is also very good.
15 years?
Probably.
15 years in the NFL. That nonsense. Shirtless underwear ads. All right, whatever. We see the world differently.
Do you have a Tommy John ad after this coming up? Is that in your book?
Hey, I'll say this. When I, it's funny about, I was talking to a friend of mine about a week ago. Ryan Russillo used to work with him. And we were talking about, like, Texas and Michigan. Maybe it's our fault. If you go to Wikipedia and you go look at Texas Longhorn national titles, there's like a 50-year gap.
Right.
There's never a 50-year gap at Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama. They're not 50-year gaps. Texas, Michigan. I remember when Rich Rod took the job at Michigan, and Mike Tirico told me, he said, I don't think he's going to fit. He goes, the socialization, he goes, Ann Arbor's different.
It is a little different.
I think Michigan and Texas, we put them up there with Ohio State and Alabama. I don't see Texas and Michigan as football schools. I see them as great American.
Well, relax a little bit on
When's
that.
the last time Michigan beat Ohio State? Once in 15 years?
Yeah, listen, they are not in a good spot right now, and I wouldn't put them in the category of what Ohio State and what Alabama and namely out of that conference, Oklahoma, out of the Big 12 has been so much more successful than Texas. Texas, let's put it this way. Texas is around 500 in their last 100 football games.
Thank you.
But they're still number 2 on the Forbes most valuable list. I mean, so there's something to that, right?
What does that
brand
mean?
is strong enough. They've got a strong brand. It's an incredibly strong brand.
So does a pro wrestler. The brand, I want W's. I don't care about brands.
I understand that, but you can't say that they're not football schools, all right? Texas is just a few years removed from winning 10 games in 9 straight seasons from 01 to 09.
How about this? When I say Austin, Texas, you know what I think of? Party City, 6th Street, music. I don't think of Longhorn football.
I mean, that's your fault. I think of football.
You're a football announcer.
I understand that, but
I'm a bon vivant.
But hold
I'm
on,
a global citizen.
You cannot legitimately sit here and say Texas and Michigan aren't football schools.
I'm telling you. When I wake up when you say Ohio State, I think football. When you say Alabama, I think football. When you say Michigan, I think what a great school.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, that is a lie.
I've had 2 agents that went to Michigan and an attorney, and this is a suitcase full of private government information. Guys that go to Michigan carry suitcases like this. Medical school, law school.
I mean, just because they're a good school
governors.
does that mean that USC is not a football school because they haven't had the success that they've had in the past recently?
No, but I think of USC, first thing I think of is football.
You don't think of football the first time you hear Michigan. They're the all-time winningest program in the history of our sport.
I don't think. I just think great university.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Texas. When I say Austin, Texas, I think of food, music.
Well, yeah, when you bring up the city, maybe you could say something a little bit different than that. But come on. You say Texas, University of Texas. You don't think football?
No. You said university. Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Listen, when Oklahoma, listen, nothing against Norman, but I mean, the town closes down at 10 in the morning. Okay, so I mean, seriously, when I think of Oklahoma, I'm like, if you don't win in football, it's a miserable place to be. If I lived in Austin, Texas, and my team stunk, you kidding me? I'd still take my girl and I'd go to 6th Street and I'd have a great dinner. And Ann Arbor's more than football.
So what are you trying to say? They're never going to get back?
I think we overvalue Texas, and everybody's like Tom Herman stinks and Harbaugh stinks. Those schools aren't as committed to football.
What?
That's what I think.
Texas is not. Michigan's not committed to football with the contracts that they're giving out. Did you see what they did to the Big House? This is craziness. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I'm Mugatu today. What is happening?
No. Michigan's one of those guys. You ever met a guy like this? He's like, I'm a hard worker.
The late night Larry types. Like, I watch film till all hours of the night. No, you don't. You just sit in the locker room all night.
And you ask them how much they work, and they're like, hey, I put 47 hours in. And you're like, yeah, Nick Saban put 70 in. Michigan thinks they're committed. Ohio State's committed. Texas thinks they're committed to football. Alabama, Oklahoma are committed. Even USC, I like USC. USC thinks they're committed. No, Auburn lives for football.
USC, to Colin's credit, Joel, although I'm normally on your side with a lot of this stuff, Texas A&M did just replace Texas as the most valuable college program.
They did. And let me tell you how. So that is a rolling cycle where they count donations towards your revenue. And so Texas A&M passed them. I think they were 148, I believe it was the number, $148 million in revenue.
They made $107 million in profit.
$107 million in profit, and they did a great job of building their facilities. They had, I believe it was or something around like $268 million in the last 2 years that were just given to the program through donations. Those donations are going to slide a little bit. Texas will be right back there next year. That's all I'm saying, is that donations have a lot to do with that.
The greater your city is, the beach in L.A., Austin, Texas, Ann Arbor. By the way, Georgia, Athens is a great college town. The greater your city is, the more options for coaches. They leave earlier. And they're not as committed to football. All right, you disagree.
Totally disagree.
Okay, we'll agree on this. I actually think LSU Auburn play this weekend. I got to be careful here. I'll say something stupid, and it almost never happens. So hold on. I watched Auburn play, and they're young in spots. If Auburn can get their O-line figured out, I think they can beat Alabama.
Yeah, maybe.
They're
maybe.
way young up front.
I don't think that they will because that game is in Tuscaloosa.
All right.
And the only way that they have beaten Alabama in the past in Tuscaloosa is with transcendent quarterback performances like Cam Newton.
You don't like the Stidham kid? I think he's good.
He's not transcendent.
He's NFL.
Yeah, but he's not. I'm talking about transcendent.
Well,
take
who are you
the
talking
game
about?
over. Johnny Manziel in Alabama. Cam Newton in Alabama. They've only lost 4 home games.
Didn't Auburn beat Alabama a couple years ago?
Since 2008. Yeah, but it was at home. And when they did beat them in Tuscaloosa, it was with Cam Newton. All I'm saying is it's going to be difficult. I agree with you. I think Auburn's the better team than LSU.
So do I.
If you actually look at the game that LSU played against Miami, it was more evenly played than the scoreboard would have indicated.
Agreed.
In particular in the first half when LSU took advantage of penalties and turnovers to kind of stretch out that gap.
Washington's not going to lose again the rest of the year. Auburn beat a team.
Washington's very good.
Washington's going to roll the table in the Pac-12. They'll roll right through it.
Either of those two teams could have won that game. That was a great game that week 1 of the season. I'm with you on Auburn. I think that they're very good.
So do
I don't know if they're Alabama good in particular with Tua at quarterback.
But they have a NFL quarterback, Stidham. Jarrett Stidham is very good. And NFL scouts listen to this show. Stuff comes out of this mouth, they listen. That guy's NFL quarterback.
Oh, is that how it goes?
Okay, what's your almost upset of the week?
I got a good one for you.
Okay.
You just said Washington's going to sleepwalk through the Pac-12. Yeah, well, they're in Salt Lake at Utah. Utah's getting 6.5. That one's going to be closer than 6.5, and I wouldn't be shocked if Utah wins. Jake Browning's not playing all that well. He's 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. They're chirping up in Seattle about his status as the starting quarterback. Kyle Whittingham's always got his defense ready to play. In fact, that's a top 5 defense in college football right now through the first 2 weeks.
That's one of your better
Watch
ones.
out, Washington.
Your first 10 minutes weren't great today. That was fantastic.
Well, you sent me off on this tangent, talking this gibberish like Texas and Michigan are not football schools. What in the world?
Joel Klatt. Buy, sell, or hold next. The Herd. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.